What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Hey, I'm driving in the rain, so if you hear some background noise, it's probably the rain. But I wanted to keep going on the can of worms that I opened in my last video, talking about how life is worship, how everything we do, we're meant to do as worship unto the Lord. But no matter what, we're worshiping something or someone. It's really just like, who's your God? Life is worship, but who your God is, though, basically, though. And as it relates to following God or serving the Lord, blessing the Lord, worshiping the Lord in your life, some things are easier to do it than other things, and it could vary person to person. Your personality is different. The things that you're like presupposed to, or that you're more naturally tempted by, or that the cards are stacked against you in some areas, it's going to be harder to engage with those things than other things. But some things, you got to learn, how do I do this worshipfully? How do I do this in a way that's pleasing to the Lord? One example would be work. At least for most people. I guess you don't have to work if you have other means of providing for yourself. So let's choose a different option. Money. Everyone transacts. You cannot live life without stewarding some type of economic value, whether it's currency or even if you're going to go back into bartering days. Like, you have to learn how to steward, how to earn, how to spend, how to transact. Like, you have to learn how to do that in a way that's worshipful. You can't just go 100% off grid, legit. And even if you did, you would still, just as a nature of continuing life, like to exist as a human, you will need to create value in some way. And if you do create value, then there's value associated with the things you created. Like, there's no such thing as a life outside of stewarding something. Even if you fully consume everything that you steward within any given day, you still made the stewardship choice to consume all of those things. So it's not even about having a lot of money or having a surplus. It's just, hey, we gotta learn to steward. Can't get around it. You're going to worship something in the way that you handle money and things of value. So what are you going to worship? Another example would be probably like relationships. Now again, maybe hypothetically somehow we could create a scenario where someone has no relationships with any other human being, but I don't think there's very many someones like that. And for good reason. We're not made to do that. It's like, we're supposed to have relationships. And even if, again, you go to the extreme, you go super off grid, like, there's still a human out there that gave birth to you, right? I mean, they might not be alive anymore, but like, there are still people that you have known, that you have some type of relational history with. Whether it's parents or upbringing or schooling or hobbies or coworkers or neighbors or whatever. So you could try to detach yourself, you could try to burn bridges, but even running away from the relationships won't necessarily successfully release you from the importance of learning how to have healthy relationships. How do we worship the Lord in our relationships? How do we do life with people? How do we integrate into society in a way that's pleasing to the Lord? Right? But there are other things that you don't have to learn how to worship God in if you don't want to, because they are non-necessities. And I gave the example yesterday of video games in my life. It's something that I gave up. I could have learned how to make it a blessing, but I decided I'm not going to learn that. And the example that I want to share today is with alcohol. So I don't drink alcohol. Again, who knows how well this video ages, because maybe one day I will, but I don't think I will, because I don't want to. And I'd say it's maybe something that God's just protected me from, because I really never have. Like, I grew up, after I was confirmed in the Lutheran church, I started having wine once a week or every other week whenever the church did communion. We weren't no grape juice church, okay? We did bread and wine, just like Jesus did. But apart from that, literally, I have tasted beer. I thought that tastes bad, and that was the end of that. I never felt any social suicide, because it's like I could have had a lot to drink every day, and that wouldn't have made me like cool social. Like, that wasn't like, whether or not I drank alcohol never felt like the missing ingredient to my social life, you know. And I've always enjoyed my relationships, my friendships, and my like pleasure, my enjoyment, my recreation. So there was never a need for it, and I didn't really enjoy the taste. Financially, I'm super frugal, or at least I was, and so the thought of adding that bill to my life was like not an appealing thought. And I also have a history in my lineage of some alcohol abuse. Not like I necessarily come from a family of drunkards or something, but I've had family members pass away from alcohol poisoning. I've had family members pass away from liver failure due to alcohol consumption, and I've had plenty that have maybe at times not exercised the most self-restraint as it relates to alcohol. And knowing that family history, knowing what it can do to some people, combined with I don't enjoy the taste, I don't see the need for it in my life, I'm not missing out, I don't feel like I'm missing out, combined with my frugal personality and just generally speaking my personality that desires to achieve and accomplish. And so I'm driven to do things, and alcohol never felt like a productive step in that direction. It felt counterproductive. And so really, by God's grace, like, I didn't, all those factors I mentioned, I can't take credit for any of those factors. It's just like the way it all lined up to where I just never got into drinking. And what's funny is that I'm not morally opposed to drinking at all. Although, if I was, it would not be related to, like, we're Christians, we shouldn't drink. Some type of, like, alcohol stigma in the church that I think is weird. But one thing I learned as an adult that I did not know as a kid, and that certainly does not get advertised in Super Bowl commercials, is that alcohol is literally a type 1 carcinogen. It is in it's in the category of the most verifiably cancer-causing things in existence. Category 1, type 1. Here are the things that definitely cause cancer. And alcohol's on there, and it's not even about over drinking or how much you drink. It's like any amount could hypothetically legitimately lead to cancer. And so, anyways, if I was morally opposed, that would be tough. At this point, for me, obviously I don't drink anyways, so from my perspective, it just doesn't fit in my life. Do I think it's inherently wrong for anyone to ever? Probably not what I think, but just not something I want to put my body through. Anyways, the testimony is, hey, I could have learned, like, hey, how do you do this in a way that's pleasing to the Lord and self-restraint, and it's healthy, and it's never a problem, and it fits within your budget, and it's a blessing and to others that have a relationship with you. Like, it's just so great. But it's a total non-necessity. It's a total luxury. And instead of figuring out, is there a way, and if so, how do I go about drinking alcohol in a way that's pleasing to the Lord, I just don't drink alcohol. So I don't have to worry about if I'm honoring the Lord in the way that I'm drinking alcohol, because I don't drink. It's a pretty freeing feeling. I don't have to waste brain cells on trying to drink and feel good about it. Like, none of my conscious life is tied up in that. I'm not thinking, was that too much? Like, literally, I've never had that thought in my life, and I'm happy about it. So, sorry if this feels judgmental. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, hey, if you ever want to take the plunge and YOLO, I think it's fun. I think it's worthwhile, and I don't miss alcohol. But I don't even know what I'm missing, and that's really the testimony that God's protected me. So, that's all I got for y'all today. Life is worship. God is love.